It's pumpkin season, and I'm making a savory pumpkin sauce. Hi friends, welcome to Cooking Live with Lala. I'm Lala. I'm a home cook, professional baker, and plant-based eater. Whether you are also plant-based or just trying to get more plants into your diet, this show is for you. Let's start cooking. All right, we're going to start with an onion. I'm going to do about half of an onion. This pumpkin sauce that we're making today, I've only ever put this over pasta, but for today, I'm actually going to try it on a potato and on some rice because it's what I had, but I think it would be really good on some quinoa. We're just going to try to get a little bit of color on these onions. This is not going to be hot for a minute. This is just some neutral oil. I'm just going to use a tablespoon. If you don't use oil, you could definitely just use water in this dish. But like I said, it's going to be a minute until this heats up because I forgot to heat it up ahead of time. So this was a recipe that I created a couple months ago. I was just like, I've never had a pumpkin sauce. Let me try it. So I just kind of put my own thing together. Afterwards, I kind of researched what do people put in it. I like the way I do it better. When I look at recipes for pumpkin sauces, they often use like cinnamon and things like that. I do not want this to have that kind of feeling. I want this to have more of maybe like a Thanksgiving feeling. This recipe has some sage in it. It has some thyme in it. I just don't want it to have like more of a sweet taste, The pumpkin that I'm using today, it's just pumpkin. It doesn't even have salt in it. It doesn't have preservatives in it. It's just pumpkin, which is very awesome. Like, I cook with a lot of whole foods, but man, cooking with like pumpkin, butternut squash, things like that, it's not super easy. Like, you either usually peel it ahead of time, which is super hard, or you cook it and peel it later, which is just super messy. It's an ordeal. All right, these are starting to get some color. So I'm putting mushrooms in this, just like all of my recipes. You don't have to do what I do. One of the ways that I save money, I'm working on a video it's actually going to be a video series on saving money on plant-based foods. I know a lot of people complain about how expensive plant-based foods are or vegan foods, and I get it, I really do. But I'm working on a series on how to save money on plant-based foods. One of the things that I do is I will buy mushrooms. Mushrooms don't keep very long, so it's not unusual for me to get them marked down at like 39 cents. And so when that happens, I will cut them into the shape I want and freeze them. And that's what I did with these guys. So I'm just going to throw these in. You want to freeze them before they go bad. You don't want them to be slimy because that's weird and nobody wants any slimy mushrooms. All right, we're going to let that cook for a minute and then I'm going to add some kale. I always like to put greens in a dish if I can. This is actually like the pre-cut, pre-washed kale. So I just want to go through this and make sure there aren't any like big stalks in here like this one. Because sometimes they leave the stalks in here and this is not going to break down. And that's not going to taste good either or feel good in your mouth, Look how big this piece is, even though this is pre-cut. So that's why I like to go through these ahead of time. See what we're working with. Okay, the rest of that looks good. Garlic is kind of like not a main player in this recipe. I don't want to have any strong garlic flavors, so I'm just doing 2 cloves. The kale's getting a bright green color, which tells me that it's cooked a little bit. This is one of the easiest ways, really, to break down a garlic clove. Whew. I love garlic, man. I feel like if I ever had to be like on a deserted island and I can only bring one thing, it would be like garlic. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. I'm just going to give these just a little chop. Oh yeah, I can smell that garlic now. It smells so good. There's a great video on YouTube about garlic. I think the guy's name is Ethan something. I'm sorry, I don't remember. It came out yesterday, and it's a giant deep dive on garlic. It's a really good show. And it talks about fresh garlic versus dried garlic versus the canned garlic, the jarred garlic or the squeezed garlic. It's really good. I highly recommend it. I just want to get these tomatoes soft a little bit. So like I said, this is just pumpkin. I'm going to put in a little bit of balsamic. I really think acid is a great way to improve the flavor of your food without adding calories or fat or sugar or whatever. I've got some sage. Whoop, you can't see that. Sage, thyme, black pepper, red pepper flakes, because I always use that, and a tiny bit of nutmeg. Like I said, I don't want this to be a sweet dish, but that nutmeg really kind of brings the flavors together. I might add a little bit of plant milk to loosen this up. You know, as usual, you guys can add as much liquid as you like to make it the texture that you want it to be. Well, this recipe is almost done. You know, when you go in with liquids on a dish, just be conservative in the beginning, you know. It's really easy to add more liquids, but it's much harder to remove it if you put in too much liquid. This looks like really good, guys. It kind of looks like a curry. I'm going to put a little nutritional yeast. I am a vegan, and, you know, it wouldn't be a vegan sauce without nutritional yeast, but you don't have to use this. Definitely not. It is very thick. All right, this is pretty much done. I'm going to turn this down. I have not added any salt, so I'm just going to put in a little pinch. I really don't like to use very much salt in my food. That's like probably not even half a teaspoon. You guys do what you want with salt. If you don't use it, don't use it. If you love it, you know, do your own thing. And I do have a little bit of basil. I'm just going to put in 3 or 4 leaves. Basil can be super overpowering, and I really don't want it to overpower this dish. So I'm just putting in a little bit. Like literally, this isn't probably even a teaspoon. And I'm going to finish it with a little knob of butter. I can smell that basil already. Wow, that was really fast. All right, I'm going to let that melt. I forgot something. Okay, I forgot sun-dried tomatoes. I'm so busy up here talking, complaining about stuff. So these are the sun-dried tomatoes we already talked about. I'm going to do between like 1/8 and 1/4 of a cup. I'm just going to give this just like a quick chop. I really like the chewiness of the dried ones, you know, not the ones that are in oil. We'll just let those rehydrate for a second. I think I missed something else. Oh, maple syrup. Because I put in a little bit of balsamic, I do like to offset that with a little bit of sweet. Maple syrup is my sweetener of choice. Go Canada. And of course, this is like the Kirkland brand because there really isn't a better price around. So just lost that lid. Oh, I'm making a mess today. All right, so when I made this recipe, I made it with pasta in mind. But, you know, I've been eating a lot more pasta than I really like the past month or so because I've had like a couple pasta recipes. And the truth is that I have pasta about once a month. I really am a plant-based eater. I really don't like to eat too many very processed foods. To me, pasta is a very processed food. So I thought, well, you know, maybe I should try this sauce on a grain. I happen to have rice. I would like to try it with quinoa, and I'll probably do that next. But today I had rice, so I'm going to try it with rice. And I'm going to try it with a baked potato. So let me grab those things. I'll be right back. So I'm going to put some of my pasta. And my rice. And I cooked this baked potato in the oven, so it is very nice. These are those free potatoes that I got on my saving money on vegan groceries video. If you haven't seen it, you guys should check it out. And I'm just going to cut up a little bit of basil to put on top of these. All right, it's time to eat. So I'm going to start with the pasta just because I've had it before and why not? This is what it looks like. I already know the pasta is really, really good. If you guys make pasta dishes with actual gluten, unlike me who uses like the gluten-free version, save like a cup of pasta water to put, you know, not all of it, but as you mix your sauce and your pasta together, you can use a little bit of it to thin out your sauce, make your pasta adhere to the sauce a little bit better. It's just really good. All right, let me try this. It's so good. Super savory, has a little bite from those red chili flakes. Pumpkin-y, but not sweet, you know what I mean? And because it has the sun-dried tomatoes and the mushrooms, it has like a little bite from those foods. It's really good. All right, next I'm just trying it on rice. This is like the weirdest concept for me, so we'll see how it works. Yeah, it's really good. It really kind of reminds me of a curry. And lastly is the baked potato. I'm pretty sure I'm going to love the baked potato. Whew. This, so Cindy asked what's the difference between this sauce and a curry? I would say very, very similar. I think you could do like a pumpkin curry with the tomatoes with the greens, with the onions, with the garlic. A curry would have some different seasonings and probably a lot more seasonings. But I think we could make like a pumpkin curry that would be really, really fantastic. Okay, sorry, the potato was so hot. It really like burned my mouth. But the potato was great. And so I thought that this would be really good on 3 different bases, and it was really good. I think you could use the sauce in any way that you like. Whatever you like to put a sauce on top of would probably really, really work. It's very versatile. There's a lot of different things you could do with the sauce. You don't have to put in tomatoes. You don't have to put in sun-dried tomatoes. You don't have to put in kale. You could add the vegetables that you like. It'd probably be great with potatoes. Just probably different proteins would be amazing. I thought of putting some chickpeas in this. I thought that would be really delicious as well. I'm going to post the recipe like I always do, and I think you could just make it your own. If you are watching this video and you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. And thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much. Bye.